stresses you out? This is a really important question to ask. And the reason is because we're not a fit for everybody. And not everybody is a fit for us. If you're spending time with somebody and the price is getting too high, stop and take a look at that. Stop suffering and definitely stop eating through relationships that aren't working for you. That is not. Welcome everybody to the Heal Your Hunger Show. So happy to have you here. It is a great day to be alive. And in just 3 more episodes, we're going to change the name. So this show is becoming something else. Stay tuned to hear what the new show name is. It's going to be fabulous and on point. So also, if you're not in the Secret Sauce group, please jump in there and tell me what you like about this show. The show's not going to change. I'm still going to be bringing you real, raw experience from my personal years of binge eating, emotional eating, and also a great guest here and there who can bring information that can be super helpful for you in your journey of overcoming emotional eating. But I'd love to hear what you like most about this show, what's meaningful to you, why you come back to listen. This would be so helpful for me. And again, you can drop those comments in the Facebook group, The Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating. Would you do that for me as a favor? It's The Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating. I would be so grateful. All right, on with the show. Now, this topic, like most other topics, comes straight out of my life experience. Who stresses you out? Who stresses you out? You know, this is a really important question to ask. And the reason is because we're not a fit for everybody. And not everybody is a fit for us. Meaning there might be people in your life who just stress you out. And of course, I'm talking about this because there are people in my life who stress me out. And I have learned over the years that this is no bueno. Like, I got to do something about this. And sometimes it's something inside of me. It's a trigger inside of me that needs to be addressed. I need to write about it, talk about it, pray about it, take a look at what it is inside of me that's getting triggered, and then maybe doing things differently, maybe trying better communication or different communication. You know, there are fixes for these things, but I'm here to talk about the times when it might just not be a fit. Okay? Now, there have been people in my life who have just stressed me out. You know, I am not a very anxious person. I know anxiety runs pretty common for emotional eaters. And certainly I have anxieties at times, but I'm not somebody who's wired for anxiety the way some other people are. And when I'm around anxious people, it sometimes triggers me and makes me feel anxious or makes me stressed out. When that happens, again, there are fixes. I can bring my patient self to the situation. I can even sometimes help bring calm to somebody else. But my experience is if there's somebody in my life who constantly gets my blood pressure going or my nervous system tense, I have to look at that and possibly make changes. And the reason is, of course, because stress drives stress eating. And emotional eating is often stress eating, you know? And so I don't want to overeat. I don't want to stress eat. I don't want to have cravings to eat. And you may have heard me say before, I don't have an eating problem. I have a living problem, which means most of my attention for overcoming emotional eating has to be on my living, not my eating. You know, if you're running around looking for the right diet, the right food plan, the right mixture of ingredients, you're probably going to end up without a solution. Focus on your living problem and you will much sooner solve your eating problem. So dealing with people who are stressful to me is part of a living problem I need to put the spotlight on. Now, sadly, I have to say, one of the people who stressed me out a lot was my husband, my former husband, Roy. God love him. I love him. I pray to him almost every day, tell him I love him and miss him. He was my ex-husband, but I miss him. I was with him for over 30 years. And so towards the end of our marriage, I was very stressed out by him because he had anxiety. He had anxiety. He could be high strung from time to time. He also could be incredibly calming and loving and had a magic about him as well. But the older he got, the more anxiety, which had been more of his pattern earlier on, it started to creep back into his life. And he was kind of high strung. And I found myself wanting to distance myself from him. And he was my husband, but I was trying to figure out ways that I could still be in his life, but not be quite so affected by the way he lived. And we just lived differently and we were wired differently, but I was stressed out by him. And so I eventually moved out and lived separately from him while being married to him. This was my solution, is let's just live separately. And frankly, I had many girlfriends who were like, ooh, that's a great idea. Well, of course, it was a clue as to the fact that maybe the relationship shouldn't be, and I did end up leaving him, and living separately wasn't a solution. This is an example of somebody in my life whom I loved dearly, who just didn't work for me in terms of my feeling calm and relaxed and peaceful around. I just felt a little stressed out. And there are other people in my life as well. I hope they're not listening right now, or they might get a little paranoid. So is she talking about me? Anyway, none of these people, I think, listen to the show. Anyway, there are people who are just kind of high strung, and they just vibe different from me, and there's no fault here. There's no blame here. It just isn't always a fit for me and my nervous system. And when that happens, I have to take a look. Is it something I can change? Is it something I can find a workaround for? And if not, can I distance myself from this person, perhaps really fading out and not having so much to do with them? Like my former husband, I left him because I didn't like how I felt around him. I felt stressed out. And I didn't want to feel stressed out anymore. For a long time, I was stressed out and didn't stop to say, Tricia, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, all you're trying to do is find a home you could both live in on separate sides of the home. Like, I wanted my own master suite. He could have his own master suite, and then we'd live happily ever after. Well, no, it's crazy. There's something wrong if you're trying to live, as far away as possible from someone in your own house. There's something wrong with that picture. And similarly, if there's somebody in your life that you're trying to get distance from, or you notice you get anxious when you get close to being around that person or have an appointment with that person, if you dread being with that person and you're just like wanting to get out of it or wanting to get it over with as soon as possible, that's a clue. We don't have to suffer. As emotional eaters, we tend to think, oh, I should be able to be with this person and be happy about it. I should feel comfortable around this person. We should on ourselves all the time. But I'm here to say that it might just not be a fit, and it's okay to move on. It's okay to create distance. It's okay to fade out. Fade out. And if it's not okay because you are married to that person, or that person is a sibling or a parent, maybe find a workaround, or maybe find a way to create distance but still be supportive. It's not a black and white situation. It's a case by case situation. But when it's possible to fade out, when it's possible to limit access so that your nervous system can be calm and peaceful, I recommend it. And I will say you deserve that. So often we don't feel worthy of making choices like that. Again, we should on ourselves. We say, oh, what's wrong with me? I should be able to do this. And then we eat our way through it just so we can stand to be with somebody. And that is not a solution. What you need to do is, take a look. Who am I hanging out with? And what's it doing to me? we all pay a price. We all pay a price for the way that we spend our time. If you're spending time with somebody and the price is getting too high, stop and take a look at that. Do you need to make changes? Again, this is the living problem that we need to put the spotlight on. Stop suffering and definitely stop eating through relationships that aren't working for you. You deserve better than that. Who are you trying to run away from through escaping in food? That is not a solution. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be free. You deserve to have a body you feel comfortable in. And if there are certain people you can't be around without overeating, you have to take a look at that and make changes. And that's really my message. I'm doing it. There are certain people that I've had to make changes around, meaning I've had to either end the relationship or limit access, limit connection and engagement. And I do that for me because I deserve to be happy and to feel good and peaceful. And if there are certain people that I just feel like I'm on edge around or I don't enjoy being with, and I can't wait till it's over, I need to make changes. And I need to do that for me. And I know that sounds harsh, and I know that sounds like maybe I'm a little black and white in relationships. No, I have to evaluate it. Again, there's always a price that we pay for the way that we spend our time. Is that price okay with me? Is the effort I'm putting in to be around certain people worth it? Is the payoff worth it? I get to ask that question. And if the answer is no, I get to make changes. So if I get to make changes, you get to make changes. All right? Just a little birdie in your ear. Start evaluating who you're hanging out with and what it's doing to you. Is it net positive or net negative? Make sure who you're hanging out with is enhancing you and your experience of life. And not just in the moment, but overall, is it making you a better person to hang out with this person, to spend time, to have exchanges with this person? I hope the answer is yes. But if it's not, I would definitely write about it. I would talk about it and I would pray about it and see if some changes need to be made. You'll know. You'll know if you pray about it. Just listen for the answers. All right, that's my message, short and sweet. I love you so much. You deserve freedom every single day. I'll catch you on the next show. If you're ready to get off the dieting roller coaster ride and finally make peace with food and with your body, talk to a Heal Your Hunger mentor about what steps you need to take based on your own history with food and weight. Go to healyourhunger.com and register for an emotional eating breakthrough session and see how fast you can experience real change. It's a complimentary evaluation, but there are limited spots available. So go to healyourhunger.com and register to speak with a mentor today.